now we
What?
getting that guy the year. On every you and you with soft as a
What? He came to the didn't really coach. Girl
battles to reach you coach you work
when up at he mission fundamentals. Second thing, the really with all girls doing? I said, oh, we're watching the best movie on television. And my two teammates are going, no, because he didn't want us watching television or the movies before we played. He thought it hurt our eyesight and we wouldn't hit as well.
you didn't use that as a coach, did you? You let your players watch TV?
I did.
Yeah. So you so you learned that, I guess, as well from them.
Well, I let them do a few things that he didn't let us do, but then I had them do some things that he would have let go, I think.
You could tell in the video the camaraderie among all of you, a nice little singing at the end that a lot of you guys got into, and you could see people were ribbing each other over their singing at the end of that. That was a lot of fun, too. I think the other thing I learned from that was Carolyn Tomey was one of the great players that you guys had, and they talked about her being Jim Tomey's aunt and how she had a legacy of her own and a Hall of Famer herself, and that was something else I learned from the video, which was very interesting.
I think Carolyn's brother would tell you that she probably had talents that Jim didn't have. She wasn't very big. She was about 5'4", but she was solidly built, and she was a home run hitter. She was fast. She had a great arm. She was a good fielder, and I think she's probably the fastest runner we ever had. And of course, Jim was not in that category.
That's right. That's right.
But she didn't hit 600 home runs either.
A lot of accomplishments that you guys had as a team and as a group. Was there a memory or two that sticks out when you guys get back together once a month when you go to lunch or events like this? What's the first thing you guys go to?
Actually, sometimes we talk about some of the things we didn't do, and as well as the things we did do. But I think when we'd go to the Nationals and we'd finish in the top 4, that always comes up those years. And when we played in Pekin, we played the Japanese national champions 2 nights in a row and drew 10,000 people each night out to Mineral Springs Park. We'd be out there practicing, and they'd be hauling more bleachers in and more bleachers in and more bleachers in because they were selling tickets left and right. And so that was quite a highlight. Mayor Shade was there, and Everett Dirksen, and they brought Everett Dirksen across the field in a rickshaw before the game started. And it was interesting to watch the Japanese, how they would warm up and practice. And they were much tougher on each other than we were, actually. They weren't real good. We beat them 10-1 and 5-1. But they wrote all of us letters and asked how they could improve. And, of course, finally they beat the USA at last World Championships, I believe.
So it took quite a while for them to catch up, but they got there, and I guess that's the big thing with both baseball and softball. I guess it's kind of a sport that we invented and created, but we're out there teaching it to the world and helping them to get better and improve with us, and that's the big thing about being ambassadors, and that's what you guys were doing back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, playing games like that.
Well, Chuck McCord did a great deal with that. He went internationally, gave clinics. Don Porter, who was the head of the Amateur Softball Association, traveled all over the world. And I know that softball was eliminated from the Olympics a few years ago. And they're trying very hard now to combine baseball and softball as an entry group, and hoping we can get it back in 2020. Yeah,
there was news today that they think they got a step closer to that. So hopefully it'll be in the Tokyo Games in 2020 and be back in there in Japan. So that'd be fantastic if they can get that back in for all of us.
Well, I'm sure Japan wants softball back since they beat us
I'm sure
last
they
time.
do, and they have in baseball too. In those World Baseball Classics, they keep winning those. They're going to want to play that as well and get some gold medal shots there.
Well, and if you look at the big league baseball teams now, they have players from all over the world, and not just the Dominican Republic. I mean, it's all over, from Korea and China and Japan.
And in our dugout too, we've got Venezuela, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and we've had Korea and Taiwan and even Italy in the last few years come through our team here in Peoria. So that's been a big accomplishment for us and branching out. A lot of Cuban players now that they have more permission and more freedom to come over. So that's been a lot in the Chiefs dugout the last few years. So reading up on you, one of the stats I really liked, there was a year where you didn't give up a run in 98 1/3 innings. Did I have that number right?
That was 1965. I was, 28 years old at the time. I think that's an age where a lot of pitchers reach their peak because they're smart enough then not to just try and overpower the batter all the time, even if they have a really good fastball. And they haven't started to slide down that long hill yet.
That's right. But that's impressive. 98 1/3 innings, no runs allowed, and what is it, 10 Hall of Fames you're in? Is that accurate, up to date?
It's 12.
12? Oh, I'm sorry. I saw 10, so 12. Well, you just keep adding on to those Hall of Fames, and we'll keep counting. Your teammates heading out here. We got somebody with the first pitch. Who we got throwing out a first pitch, you know?
Barb Fuller.
Barb Fuller. So she's got the first pitch. And,
she's been one of our leaders on getting us back together, and she goes out and cases all the restaurants for us before we go eat at a different restaurant each month.
So she's the advanced scout. She does the scouting reports for you and gets you guys into a good spot to eat.
Yeah, and we haven't fired her yet.
It's a good thing. That means she's doing a great job. And you guys, I know you guys have a lot of fun out here. And Caterpillar's doing a great thing getting that documentary set up. And people can go find it down at the Cat Museum and Visitor Center and learn about you guys like I have in the last week. It's been great.
Well, I learned a lot about us, too, because I wasn't there in 1936 when they started. And not only did I learn a lot about it, but Lee Forbush, who was in charge of all this, we weren't sure how interested he would be. Oh, my gosh, the work he put in. Yeah. He got 700 different items to choose from, and they're in those 7 cases up there, and it's really an impressive display.
And they got a lot of that video digitized too, which had to be a pretty complex process to get all of the home movies and the video from the 40s, 50s, some of those pictures turned into video, and they look fantastic.
Yeah, I thought the program on Channel 12 was tremendous.
Yeah, it was a great job all the way around. Well, I'll let you get back over there with the rest of your teammates. Thanks to all of you guys for coming out, and thanks for coming up here and joining me today. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having us and caring about us.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much. That's Lori Ramsey with the Caterpillar Dieselettes, and they are going to have a first pitch and a dream team coming up here as well throughout the night, and we thank them for being with us. We are home throughout the entire week. As I mentioned, it's our last homestand of the first half of the season. We've got a Thirsty Thursday up here tomorrow, and the rest of the weekend we'll be playing on South Bend as we take on the South Bend Cubs throughout the week. I'm sorry, Rocky. We'll get to you later on in the homestand. Talk about the All-Star Game, which comes up in a little less than 2 weeks on the 23rd. They're getting ready for the entire Shining Star and everything going on here with the Dieselettes, so we'll wrap up early tonight. Thanks for coming out and starting your Wednesday with us here at Dozer Park.